Hey everyone. Now I recently bought a second-hand amplifier, just this old 2-channel one here, just on the cheap because I just needed it for a 2-channel amp kind of job. But when I got it home, even though it worked and the guy showed me it working, like it does work, but there is a buzzing sound that's come through it. So I'll try and show you that. All right, I'll see if you can hear this. I don't know if you can hear that, but hopefully you can. That's the noise. Here's a better demo of the buzzing noise that's coming through, and you can see some spikes there in the spectrum. So what I'm going to try and do in this video is get rid of that noise. So here goes. Now you won't hear the buzzing obviously, but when I'm playing sound and I mute it, the noise is still there. The noise is also coming through the headphones. So what I'm doing now is basically just gathering up information to see what the situation is. It also does it on any input, although the digital ones don't make any noise, but I couldn't get them to make any noise anyway. So this BD and DVD are these HDMI inputs up the top here, but I couldn't get any noise through that anyway, so that could be something else wrong with them. Not too worried about that. It's all analog here, and it makes the noise through whatever channel. Oh, and also I tested, it also comes out the center channel as well, and I'll show you why I tested that one. Now in the good old days, you could get service manuals for home equipment like this. So you can see I found the manual here. That's the service manual that has all the schematic diagrams and everything. And that was before big corporations wanted to make you their slaves. And this is a Sony amp, so it's not like Sony's not a big corporation. But anyway, I've got the schematics here, so I'm going to have a quick look at that. Okay, I don't have a screen capture going on this computer because I don't have a microphone. But anyway, this is a block diagram. So you can see the audio section here. This is analog audio here. You got left and right, the surround left and right, the center channel and the sub. And they go to the power section. And the reason I tested the center speaker before is you can see that the power amps are different. So you've got the left and right channel use its power amp and its little pre-driver here. And the one for the surround and the center is different. But because that noise was common across all of them, I'm not going to assume it's just one of those because it was in all of them. So I'm going to go back and just trace that back and see what I can find. So if I go back a step to what was feeding that, so this here is what fed into that at the bottom here and then goes out. If I go back here, you can see that this is common in this digital to analog converter. So it could be something in there, maybe. It could be anything yet, I haven't even pulled the top off. This thing even tells you what order to rip it apart. I mean, how good's that? All right, time to pull this thing apart. Alrighty. Okay, power comes in, goes off to the big ass power transformer there. Comes down, bridge rectifier, some power rails there to power the output there, big heat sink, and some controls and shit. Okay, now going back to the block diagram, all this is digital audio, so I'm not too worried about that because it's digital, but this is the first point analog appears, so the digital to analog converter, the DAC. And you can see you've got the left and right, the surround left and right, the center and the subwoofer. And that then goes on to the next section, which is here. So it comes in down here, if you can see, my dodgy camera. Comes in here, goes to this and then goes out to the power section to be fully amplified. So that's all analog from there. That's just a input selector, function selector by the looks of things. So the analog starts back here. So that's where I'm going to start sort of looking. But those two chips, I'll show you where they are on the unit. So that first one is here, which is on the digital board, which I'll show you in a sec. And the next one is on a different board. So there's obviously an analog link between those two boards. And that makes me think it's a good spot for noise to come in. So that first one, the DAC, is really hard to see. It's right down in there behind those, where am I? Right down in there behind the capacitors. Probably can't even see it on there, but it's in there. And the next one is at the bottom of this board, sort of under there somewhere. So on the other side of that will be the other one. Now you might not be able to see it on this camera, but on that board down the bottom, it's actually marked what all the signals are. So you can see the, well, you probably can't see, the right, left, center and all that. So they're analog paths. Okay, I've moved this board to the side here just so I can get underneath it. You can see the components on the back there that couldn't really see too well before. And you notice on the main board here, it's looking pretty filthy. So all that crap around the joints there could be conducting noise and crap to the other parts where it's not supposed to be. So I'm going to try and give this thing a bit of a clean up. What I'm doing here is joining a signal cable from this board so I can plug it into a different amp just to see how it sounds at this point. Okay, so maybe you can see these tiny little test points here for different signals, but they're too small to get to. So I've just soldered this into the front left chain, the left speaker. Not speaker, before the speaker, the left audio chain. Okay, now I've got that signal going to just a plug for now going to the scope. You can probably see how that looks there. It's a bit rough, but that could be coming from both sides. Now, if I look at the actual sound that I recorded, that's what it sounds like. If I zoom right in, you can see these bits here. It's recurring and it's all that crap there. So that's what I'm actually hearing. Okay, now if I start some music playing, you can see the music there. Now the volume's not going to do anything to that because that's just on that chain before that. But the thing is, since the volume's not changing the music level, it's not changing the noise level either. So that sort of makes me think that the sound, that buzz might be coming back into it rather than from here, because if it was from here, it would increase also when I change the volume through the speakers here, but it doesn't, it's constant. So that kind of makes me think that it's on the main board here. All right, I'm going in. I'm pulling it all apart and I'm going to get to the other side of this board and do some soldering and see if I can clean up some of the solder on there, because it'll be dry after all this time. All right, here's the board, and what I'm going to do is a bit of resoldering, mainly on the transistors, but whatever I feel like doing, that's what I'm going to do. Right, I'm redoing some of the soldering along the analog chain, and also some transistors and capacitors and things like that. Doing the trannies, back when trannies meant transistors or transformers, probably still mean transformers. Right, I gave the board a half-ass clean with some Mepho, but I'm just going to put it back together and see what happens. I've got a rough idea where everything went, and what I'm going to do is make sure I put all these metallic screws nice and tight. Okay, now it's mostly back together. I've just left the lid off to, until I'm sure it all works. So now I will turn it on and give it the moment of truth. Turn that on there. Obviously it's got its warm-up time before the relays click in. And I hear nothing. It's completely dead. So I'll play some audio and that's coming through. So that looks good. If I pull this headphone out, there we go. All works. And there's no, well, you wouldn't hear it anyway, but there's no buzzing noise. It's all gone. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, one of the areas I made sure I soldered were these preamp ICs here. You can see those things there. I made sure I redid the solder of them because I've just got a funny feeling that's what caused it. I dare say that was it. I'll never know exactly which bit of the resoldering fixed it, but either way, it's done. Okay, so it's rant time now. And as you saw, I got this amp in an unknown state. It was a bit broken when I got it home and I could fix it. Now, the reason I could fix it is because the schematic was easily available, which I didn't ultimately need, but it was there anyway. And also the parts there. Now, I didn't need any parts either, but they're all standard parts that I could get from anywhere. The point is, back in the old days, you used to be able to fix stuff and the manufacturer themselves didn't make it hard for you. Now, I'm sure everyone who watches this channel no doubt knows Lewis Rossman's channel. So I'm right there with his way of thinking that we should be able to fix our own stuff. I mean, I could. And even if you yourself can't fix it, at least be able to take it to someone who can. So I miss the old days in that. Like, I do actually have an electronics trade, but I haven't really done this stuff since the 90s. Back when people used to repair TVs and stuff, and sometimes they'd have the schematic on the back of the TV once you take it out. But anyway, that amp's working, so I'm happy with that. There's also the satisfaction of fixing something yourself, and avoiding planned obsolescence means that this doesn't end up choking a dolphin or ending up somewhere in Africa that doesn't really need it. So that's that. Okay, so the reason I got it is because I had a couple of these speakers here, but I had no amp. But now I've got this amp and it works. It works pretty good. So that's there, and I just got a screen up there to do my thing. Okay, so now I can relax in the recliner as winter approaches and be all comfortable and have some good sound. So anyway, that's all for now. Till next time, take it easy.